Hello, I'm George Gonzalez, and I'm obsessed with making games. And today is Thursday, so we're doing a level up video, and we're gonna focus on how to get things done. And my whole goal is to help you finish your games. And so I'm gonna spend some time actually giving you specifics on how you can improve your game dev journey and actually get things done and get them done faster. Not only this video, but the upcoming videos, I'm gonna focus on these principles to show you how it's done. We're gonna talk about systems and how they can help you. Goals are usually emotional driven and they're like a compass. And we're gonna talk about goals and systems and how they differentiate and how you can improve. See, a lot of times you have a lot of goals, but how many times have you been able to reach your goals? Or how many times have you had to adjust your goal because you couldn't reach the initial goal you set out to do? Or how many are you guys stuck trying to reach your goal and extended it for years because you're still trying to get there? Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to get those done with systems. Okay, systems is how you get there. It's the vehicle to reach your destination, and that's something that is not addressed a lot. What do I mean by this? For example, on YouTube, you'll see tutorials on how to do one specific task, and as a game dev, you have probably like thousands of tasks that you need to do to finish a game. And so your hope is that, okay, well, if I can learn this and this and this and this, eventually I'll get there. But that's not a system and that's not going to get your goal. Most of the time, the YouTube videos are there to get clicks and views. And so they will address whatever people want. And most of the times, people are looking on how to do X, how to do Y. If I'm trying to make money on YouTube and I'm trying to get clicks and be able to sell products or evergreen content like online tutorials and courses, what am I going to do? I'm going to give people what they want, which is how do I do this? How to do this? How to do that? And then just teach them how to do X, Y, and Z. The problem is that most of the questions that you're asking are wrong. And so that's what we're going to go through. And by the end of the video, you'll understand the difference between this and the how-to that you keep searching for. And I'm not saying those are bad. I still look through those videos to learn and concepts. And we're going to, in the course of these videos, I'll show you how I learn and how I establish my systems to reach my goals. But today we're going to talk about the principle, and you'll be able to understand this. By the end of the video, you'll get what systems are, and so that you don't fall in the trap of getting stuck in endless tutorial hell. So goals are emotionally driven, and systems are how you get there. You have a goal. Let's talk about the goals first to just establish the difference, because sometimes you might have game development as a hobby. If that is totally fine. But what is your goal? Are you wanting to be able to get something out? Because even if it's a hobby, you want to get it done. You just do whatever you want at your own pace. But even then, as a hobby, you want to learn how to maximize your time and do it right. Even if I had basketball as a hobby, I would like to play fairly well so that when I play basketball, I enjoy it. I feel like most of the time when I learn how to do things right, I enjoy them a lot more than if I just do it the wrong way. And there is a right way and a wrong way to do certain things. And not necessarily like there's one path, but there's always an optimal path. And that's what you're trying to find. But let's start. So hobby is the first, which is like the least serious. But then let's say you want to find a job, or maybe let's number these. One, you want to find a job. Two, you want to find a job. Or let's say you want to build your own studio, publish your first game, other things. So let's say these are most of where people are at, right? Like they want to find a job in the industry, build their own studio eventually, publish your first game. Another one, after you publish your first game, you're like, well, now I want to make money, or make money building games, or make games that sell, right? So those are kind of where you would probably are looking for. And all these have different emotions attached to them, right? Of what you're trying to get out of it. So it's important to understand where you're trying to get at as you create these systems, because when you're going to go back and evaluate, and you're going to evaluate based on this. And so as you talk to other people, like we have, you have someone that's a hobbyist as a developer, and then you have other ones that's trying to make money. And if they're in a similar group, you guys are not going to be able to help each other much, because what this guy's trying to do is different than this guy. And it's like, this guy's going to feel pressure from this guy because he says, no, that's not how you do it. And I've seen this a lot on Discord, because there's people with different goals in mind, and oftentimes giving advice to each other that might not be the best, right? And so this is a good way to start a conversation about what your goals are and getting feedback as to what you're trying to do. Because if you're trying to make money, then there is a right way to do it. And there's different ways to do it, but they all have costs, and you have to take into account costs. Whereas a hobbyist just takes into time or what they want to do, and they can just say, well, I don't care. Okay, so enough about goals. Now let's talk about systems, how to get there, the vehicle. And oftentimes they're like, well, I don't know how to get there. So how do I know? And that's the whole point of my YouTube videos, is that instead of addressing like how to do a spline, or how to move an object along a spline, or how to do a lookup, or how to create solid principles or whatnot, my goal is how to get to the end of the finish line for all these, how to finish a game that's profitable, how to build a studio that's sustainable, how to publish your first game, how to, like, not worrying about marketing because it's your first published game, how to cut scope. All this is related to getting this done, getting here, right? Whereas a person doing a tutorial on um, how to create animation slash or whatever is, and then they sell their course on Udemy or whatever else, they their goal is not to help you do this. Their goal is to teach you whatever they're selling, which is how to do this, and that's it. Which is not bad at all. The problem is that you got to understand on your own table, have your own systems and goals and things, and then buying those courses makes sense because it's a stepping stone in the right direction if you have the right systems in place. Okay, so how to get there is the vehicle. That's what we're going to talk about. So the first thing is the systems have to be clear, specific, and repeatable. And just as an FYI, I'm going to link the video below, but I took this from Leila Hormozi, who is a successful businesswoman, and her and her husband, Alex Hormozi, are very successful. And I agree to all the stuff that they talk about, their habits and things that they've analyzed. They basically bring everything down into clear, specific language. And that's what I love about it, because I think a lot of people are in the realm of ambiguity. And so we need to be clear about how we communicate and what we communicate. And I'm trying my best to communicate that to you. And so that's why I'm taking their words and applying them to game development so you can understand it. Okay. So the first thing about systems is that they're clear, specific, and repeatable. And what it means specific is just that. It's like step by step, things that you can replicate. So for example, with game dev, one of the things that I mentioned in previous videos is a rule of thumb could be, I don't sit down to work on my game unless I have a specific goal and I know what I'm going to go do. Before I sit down, I know what I'm going to work on. That is something that a system that I have that I pass along to you guys, and it can be part of that. What it is exactly doesn't matter, but the fact that you have something to work on, right? So when you sit down here and I turn on the computer, you're going to work on something. That brings me to the other system I have. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I do, because I have my computer downstairs in the basement and in my office. So my office is separate from obviously where I sleep. What I do is I wake up and I get breakfast for our daughter. So I get breakfast started. But whenever I have a second, usually when I get up, I come downstairs, turn on the computer, come back up and work on breakfast and whatever else. That's a system I have. Why? Because it takes a little bit to boot up, right? The computer and stuff. And so I just like for the computer to be on when I come in. Some people leave the computer on all night. I like to clear cache and everything. And I like starting fresh. So that's my system. I always turn off my computer when I leave. I turn it on when I come back downstairs. And I do it at the beginning of the day so that the computer's ready to go when I come back to it. So that's a system I have, and it's repeatable. I do it every day. I come in, it sounds dumb. I turn it on, I go back up, do breakfast, whatever. So then when I come back, I can do that. The other thing is I will also, depending on what I'm doing, I might wait for the computer to boot up because usually it's pretty fast. And then I click on the project to open it up. And then I know, so I usually try to do the things that will take the longest, and opening a project sometimes can take long, especially if you're working in Unreal, it's going to take a while. So opening the project, going back up. Another system you might have is having a separate drive where you have the project cache and library information on there. I've seen, I worked with someone that they had that, where you have a system that has all the cache and information, so you don't have to load up all that. And it makes loading so much faster for the project. I'm sure you could do that for Unreal too. So that's something that you could do. I just click on it, go do something. It's the same for when I make builds. Sometimes builds will take 5-6 minutes. Oftentimes, if I'm building for release, I have to do the debug symbol, so it'll take 10-15 minutes. So I'll hit build, and I'll either have something to work on while I'm doing that, or I just go get lunch or something, or do something. So I try to, that's why I like working from home, because I could make a build and start the laundry at the same time. So I like working from home because I can hit build. I have 15 minutes to kill. I'll go start the laundry. And then next time I have a pause, I'll go change it to the dryer. So those are things that I could do while I'm working at home and keep my time efficient. Also, I could have someone else do the laundry and I don't have to worry about it. But usually in dev time, you have some downtime where you're doing things or waiting for things to happen. And so that's how I deal with some of the stuff. So specific, repeatable. What are things? And we'll talk about how to improve and how to figure these out later. But for now, we're going to go on the next one, which is what describes the system. A system has 3 parts. So according to Leila, we have a trigger, which is reminders. So like I said, in my case, when I wake up, my kids tell me they're hungry, obviously, so I know I just get up and do their breakfast. Even if like one's awake but the other's not, I just kind of start it. So that way, by the time the other one wakes up, they're all ready. So breakfast is always there. So I'll set up. So let's say I'm doing toast or waffles or whatever, Eggos. I put them in the Eggo in the toaster. I know it'll take a minute or two to till it pops up. So I'll come downstairs and I'll turn on the computer, and then I'll go back up and prepare whatever is there. So what's the process? What happens, right? Like what I'm doing. So I pop the things in the toaster, and then the trigger that I know that I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go downstairs, do and boot up my computer. It's the same thing when I hit build. I might not have something to do, but maybe I make sure I have some water, so I'm drinking some water often, or I get lunch, or I do something, whatever the next task. So I have a backlog of things I need to do around the house. So usually when I hit build, I do one of those things, or I go check on the girls, or pick them up from school, this or that. So usually I have things set for the trigger that reminds me what to do. So usually because I'm a father and I have a life, I have a house, there's things that during the day that I have to do that trigger the rest. Other times you can have a reminder, or like on your phone or something that triggers the next event, and that will be helpful. So you can put the most important parts of your life where they need to be, and then nicely move development around those parts if you want. And those could be triggers because by this time you have to get this done, and so you can be more efficient with your time. The process is what actually happens. Like be able to describe step by step what you're going to do. We're making process. Like let's say I'm coding. How can this help me? Well, the first thing when you're thinking about the process is how long you have, right? Because if you're going to sit in your computer for 8 hours, you might not be as efficient, and it might still be okay, right? You'll take breaks, whatnot. But if you are able to maximize like an hour a day, figures out, or 30 minutes, then you'll be able to hopefully apply that to your 8 hour work time. So let's say you don't have much time and then you work a lot on weekends. Usually what I try to do, like if you think about processes, I figure out what are my best times to work. If usually I categorize things to do. There's things that I need to do um, that are debugging or short, like I can do in 30 minutes. So usually one thing you can do for your process is give a time value to things that popping up in your backlog. So this could take 30 minutes. This is an hour task. This is half a day. This is a day. Kind of guesstimate, and you'll get better as you go. But then there's things that are like when you think about them, they're fun that you want to spend a lot of time. So usually what I do is if I have something that it's fun and I can get it done because it's bugging me, like a earworm type thing. Sometimes I'm like, I've been thinking about how to solve this problem, and I have ideas of things I want to tweak, and I just know where it is, and it's going to take me just 10 minutes to test it, 10 minutes to add it, and then I just need to test it. So I'll do those in the morning really quick before I even start my workday, whatever. I try to do that because it's when I have the most energy, and I just need a quick. I might wake up earlier just because I want to get that done, and it's something that's bugging me that I just want to test. And then when I test it, I come up with more. The workload increases, but I just need to get that one thing done, and sometimes you need that, right? And so as you have those, you can slot those in your 30-minute days or your hour days so that you can make progress. You have an overarching goals, you have priorities, but maybe you don't have the time. Like if your top priority is to get something huge done, the main thing that I'm thinking about as I go around is like, okay, how can I break that into, can I do something for 30 minutes that will help that goal? I know it requires like an 8-hour workload. Is it possible to break it up? Because usually you can. You can, maybe you're not done and it's not ideal, but you can still get like part of the way there. Like you can execute the code, but you can't test it. Okay, I'll leave it there, and then I'll leave a note. This is what I did. You don't. Maybe I usually don't push those updates because it's not tested. So I leave it saved in my computer, and when I get to it, then I come back and I know I'm testing now. That's not ideal, but if that is the top priority, then yes. But maybe I have another thing like audio problems or issues that are like one-click fixes. Usually, I'll do those when I have limited time, or I want to get small wins out of the way because I don't have much time. So that's only when I don't have time. Those are options, right? So I have different processes, but there's times where I either have to do a lot, and I was like, I can't leave my desk until this is done, or I can't stop until this is done, or figured out, fixed, whatever. And then other times I'm just having so much fun that I just want to keep going and tweaking, and I need the time. Those I reserve for the nighttime. My wife is very patient with me, and she understands that I get really involved. Back when I was newly married and we were going to school, and she was going to school, so like it was just us and no kids, I would spend like till 4 a.m. in the lab doing stuff. I working on what are the senior project, whatnot. And so I was used to just going until 4 in the morning, like all 10 p.m. to 4 in the morning, just working through stuff. Cause I just like when you're in that time, you're the most efficient. And so like it didn't matter how much sleep I got, I just needed to get that done. And it wasn't so much that I needed brain power, I just needed to get it done. And so like figure things out, test them out. It's like tweaking numbers, it's time consuming sometimes. And so I do that at night at my house. So usually I'll start at 8, 9 p.m. and I'll just keep going until it's done. And sometimes that's 10 p.m., sometimes it's 11, and sometimes it's midnight. I don't think I've gone past 1, but most of the time I can get it done and I can, okay, like I need to pause now. But I usually know when I sit down that that's the time that I'm going to just go long on it. And so I reserve those times for that. And if I'm super tired, I might not be able to get it done. So I don't do it. But usually I have energy and I'm trying to get there. Like by the time I get there, I really want to work on the project. And that's why another one of my goals is to figure out how I can replace my daytime job with my own studio so that I could just swap and do 40 hours a week. And then I could do 40 hours a week doing what I want. And having a blast doing that and making profitable games. So that is my goal right now. And so I'm building processes, systems to get things done, even though I have a day job, a family, a house, this YouTube, and my community and game devs. And so it's a lot. I could, if I'm having troubles, I could cut down the community, I could cut down YouTube and stick to my job, or quit my job and just do my thing full time and not do any YouTube. No, cut down on everything and just do my thing full time. I could do that too. These YouTube videos are a system for me to keep myself accountable. So every Monday, every Thursday, and every Saturday, I post. But the systems are there. I do this on a daily basis. I love it. I do it for work. I do it as a hobby. I love it. And oftentimes you're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to learn. Well, dedicate some time to learning and understanding and improving how you learn. And those are things that I'm going to be talking about in the next few weeks for this Level Up course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to describe how I learn and how to apply the things I learn and step by step describe the processes. But in order to establish that, I need to do this. I need to set this up so that you understand what I'm going to talk about in the next few videos. Okay, so then third is tracking it, the value for it. Okay, this is where we come full circle, because at this point we're going to say, is the process, is the triggering process working? Okay, am I doing the things at the right time? And then are the things I'm doing every day actually getting me to my goal? And that's where we can go over details. So let's say, for example, I'm publishing my first game, which a lot of developers are. Do not worry about making money. Okay, don't worry about marketing. Because, like, the essence of making games is you don't even need art for it. At the core common denominator of all games is code. Okay, and that is what has the game. Like, you could do this like Tetris, right? You could do it on a 2D screen. You could do it pixels. The art does not matter. The main thing right now is you're trying to make a game that does something, that you play. There's a start, a finish. There's a goal. There's something that you're trying to do. Once you get there, you have your game. Then you can add the art that you want or that you're capable of doing, or hiring someone that does art. Okay? You don't need to worry about having this grandmaster game as your first game. There's a reason why people give you, as a general rule of thumb, to fail faster. You're not the exception. That is another tip. Okay, do not skip. I say it in every video. Do not skip because you think you're better or different. If you want to get there faster, then you need to fail faster. Like, do it more times. Learn to make games, and then just understand the process of publishing a game. It's a lot. Don't worry about marketing. Just focus on the code, the game, the aspect, like code, game, fun. You need to watch the SpongeBob episode on fun, F-U-N, F is for friends, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, like, that is the essence of games. Is like fun. Is it fun? Get it in front of people, test it. That is what you're trying to get better at. Coding mechanics that make a fun interaction and entertainment for the player. And then you have even goals within your game, right? You're trying to accomplish. So it's a little bit like Inception. You have your overarching goals of what you're trying to accomplish, but then you have the game's goals. Like, you're making this game to make your first published game, but what are you trying to accomplish for the player? What emotions are you trying to give the player? And are those happening? To who? Like, who are you giving this? Even if it's free, like, you're selling something to another person. And regardless of what you want to say about it, even if it's a hobby, being a good game developer means you're a good salesman, that you're good at psychology, other things that are important to understanding what the player is thinking and doing and the emotions that he's trying to get out. And you can do that in many ways. But the main point is that you'll have a goal. You want the player to feel a certain way because they played your game. And that is your end goal. Be able to say, I can make a game for X person and they'll feel Y feelings, or they'll feel this way because they played my game. And if you could do that, then you can sell it, you can do whatever. So that's what you're trying to get at. Making a game that gives you certain emotions to the player. Maybe you want to frustrate players. There's all kinds of games out there to frustrate people. To do, and it's still fun and engaging, but it's just a different kind of feeling. But that's what you have different goals, and at the core, that's what it is. But if you're trying to make money building games, you should have already had your first published game, so you already have an idea. You should have already made games in the same genre. It's almost impossible to make money building games if you haven't built for the genre, like if you don't understand the audience. You can get lucky. Yeah, you can roll the dice and make millions with a game, even if it's the first time in the genre for you. But it doesn't mean you can repeat it. And so that's why my focus is for you to be able to repeat success and be able to continue and make a living or get the goals that you want. Because rolling the dice is not fun and it's not exciting. What is exciting is being able to repeat these systems and get there on a consistent basis. And that's the whole point of this, is like you can have consistency and then you can write it down and get it done. That's all it is. There's no there is emotion in the goal, but in making games, it's not about your emotions. It's about systems, about doing the work and just getting it done. And you control when it happens, how it happens, and if it does what it's supposed to. So if you're not getting to where you need to be, then it's on you to change. And if you need to change, that's why I'm here. I have this YouTube channel and I have Endgame Devs, a community where I help you make these changes in your life so that you can actually get to where you need to be. In order to improve and change, you need something different. You can't expect different results doing the same thing. That's insanity, right? If you don't want to be insane and keep doing the same thing over and over, join us at Endgame Devs, and I can help you one-on-one on how to do things differently so that you can make changes and reach your goals. Let's create systems that work for you. We'll see you in the next few videos where I go in detail about these systems. See ya.